Hey guys, it's Reincoasteraddict here, and welcome to my personal ranking of the roller coasters at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. Busch Gardens Williamsburg has been my home park for 13, almost 14 years, and they have 8 roller coasters as of 2019. But next year in 2020, the 9th roller coaster will open to the public. Please just keep in mind that this is my personal opinion, so without further ado, let's get into it. So at the number 8 spot is Grover's Alpine Express, the Zaire Kiddie Coaster. What do I have to really say about this ride? It's a kiddie coaster. It's not really supposed to be intense or for anyone over the age of 4. So it's just not that great of a ride. It's basically just a drop and a couple helixes. And it doesn't really go that fast. And it's basically just meant for children, obviously. So I don't really recommend this ride unless you're just wanting the credit. But other than that, it's just not really worth your time. So let's move on to the number 7 spot. Coming in at the number 7 spot is Tempesto, the premier ride Skyrocket 2. Located in the Festa Italia section of the park, Tempesto is a very compact coaster that can actually be seen from the parking lot of the actual park itself. I put this coaster at the number 8 spot for 2 reasons. One, because it is a cloned ride and they can be found from all over the world. And 2, because of the restraints. The restraints for this ride are one of the worst restraints I've actually been in on a coaster. But anyways, other than that, it's actually a decent ride. I wouldn't say it's the worst in the world. Just the restraints kind of bang your neck a little bit, and it's just not a very comfortable experience. So without further ado, let's move on to the number 6 spot. So at the number 6 spot is Verbolten, the Zaire multi-launch family coaster. I'm going to be honest, this coaster has the best theming I've ever seen on a roller coaster. The ride itself isn't that great, it's pretty rattly and it's not very intense, but the launches are very, very fun, and that drop track is just amazing when you're inside the building. So I definitely recommend Verbolten. It's very fun, it's a great family ride, and yeah, that's all I really got to say about it. So that's Verbolten. Let's move on to the number 5 spot. So at the number 5 spot is Invader, the GCI wooden coaster. This ride is very, very fun for a family coaster. This was actually the second GCI I ever rode, and this coaster is definitely a lot better than people say it is. It has a very good drop, a lot of airtime, really good bank turns, and it definitely feels a lot faster than it actually is. I really recommend this coaster, especially if you have little kids who are getting ready to ride their first roller coaster and they are going to be brave. So that's Invader. That's the number 5 spot, so let's go ahead and move on to the number 4 spot. So, coming at the number 4 spot is Loch Ness Monster, the aerodynamics custom looper located in the Scotland section of the park. This ride is an absolute classic. It is 41 years old as of 2019, and this coaster was also my first roller coaster. And here's a fun fact, this coaster was also the first and the only remaining coaster to have interlocking loops. I have a really soft spot for this coaster. It's just a great ride. It's not as rough as people intend it to be. It's actually one of the smoothest aerodynamics loopers out there. So I definitely recommend this coaster if you go to Busch Gardens Williamsburg. So let's move on to the number 3 spot. So number 3 at the park is Griffin, the B&M dive coaster. This ride kicks absolute butt. It is so much fun. It has 2 Immelmans, a 205-foot vertical drop, some actually decent airtime, and a really good splashdown element at the end of the ride to get the guests soaked. I 100% love this coaster, and it always has a short line, sometimes almost a walk-on most of the time. I definitely recommend this ride on the edge seat in the front row at night. That is probably the best seat for this coaster and the best time of day for it. So that is the number 3 spot on this list, and let's move on to the number 2 spot. At number 2 is Alpengeist, the B&M invert at the park. Holy crap, this is definitely the most intense coaster at the park. It is currently my 3rd favorite invert behind Raptor at Cedar Point and then Montu at Busch Gardens Tampa. This ride is super whippy, has a great drop, and some great hang time after the mid-course brake run. Well, since you practically slow down to a stop now, but it is still a fantastic ride, and I cannot say enough about it. It's definitely a great invert, and I recommend it very much. So let's move on to the final number 1 spot. Finally, at the number 1 spot is Apollo's Chariot, the B&M Hypercoaster at the park. Wow, just wow. I love this coaster. I love B&M Hypers so much, and if you guys have actually watched my videos for a while, you would know that this is my favorite hypercoaster and my favorite ride at the park. It has so many great drops, some crazy airtime, and it maintains its speed throughout the entire ride, even after the mid-course brake run. So I cannot recommend this ride enough to you guys. It is so great, and I definitely recommend it. So that is actually the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please click the like button and subscribe if you are new, and I will see you guys in the next video.